We are ready.
We're ready.
We are ready.
We are ready too!
Every summer, the world's best players gather for the biggest tournament in football. Managers make their choices, squads are announced, and every single time, without exception, players who should be there are not. This is not about the players who missed out through injury or bad form. This is about the players who were in form, available, and good enough, and still did not make the list. Players whose managers looked at them and decided for whatever reason that someone else was a better fit. We have taken those players. We have built a team. And what we found was this. The squad of players who did not go to the 2026 World Cup is one of the most talented collections of footballers you will ever see. This is the World Cup Rejects 11, and they are anything but. The system is a 4-2-3-1, a goalkeeper of generational quality. A back four that combines attacking threat on the right, defensive solidity in the center, and pace on the left. A double pivot built on destruction and progression. A three behind the striker that includes arguably the best player in England. And a center forward in the form of his life. 11 players. 11 different stories of how they found themselves watching the World Cup from home. Let's go through them. Marc-André ter Stegen has spent 12 seasons at Barcelona. In that time, he has kept 126 clean sheets in La Liga alone.
With a header! Brilliant save! Must be!
A clean sheet in 43% of every league match he has ever played. His save percentage over his career at the club sits at 75%. In his peak seasons, he was saving nearly 80% of shots on target, numbers that place him among the elite goalkeepers of his generation. He is not at the World Cup because of a serious injury that cut short his 2024-2025 season and left him with only 8 league appearances. The German national team could not select a goalkeeper who had barely played. That decision makes tactical sense. It does not change what ter Stegen is. One of the best goalkeepers in the world, watching the World Cup from home through no fault of his own. Trent Alexander-Arnold is perhaps the most divisive selection debate in English football history.
And then, this time, it's Trent Alexander-Arnold.
A player who, across 9 seasons at Liverpool, averaged 0.28 assists per 90 minutes, among the highest of any defender in Premier League history. A player whose crossing numbers in Liverpool's title-winning season reached nearly 9 crosses per 90 minutes. A player now at Real Madrid, adding 10 assists in his first season in La Liga. The England manager looked at all of that and still decided he was not in the squad. The debate about whether Trent is a right back or a midfielder, whether his defensive weaknesses outweigh his offensive brilliance, has followed him throughout his career. At the World Cup, that debate continues. From his sofa. Harry Maguire is the most controversial name on this list, and we will not pretend otherwise.
Puts it towards the back post. Harry Maguire! Manchester United!
His career at Manchester United has been defined as much by criticism as by contribution. But the numbers tell a more complicated story. In the 2025-2026 season, with Maguire in the Manchester United starting 11, the team's on-off differential is positive. They defend better with him than without him. Over 7 seasons at the club, that number is consistently in his favor. He is experienced. He has played in major tournaments. He is a commanding aerial presence. The England manager made a different call. Whether that call was right is a debate that will not be settled here. What is certain is that the player who replaced him on this list would also have a case. Antonio Silva is 21 years old. He has already played over 100 games for Benfica. In his first full season at the club, aged 18, he was a key part of the squad that won the Portuguese title. Across 4 seasons, he has contributed 12 goals and 16 assists from central defense, numbers that speak to a defender who is not merely defensive but genuinely capable of contributing at both ends of the pitch. Portugal chose not to include him in their World Cup squad. For a player of his age, his profile, and his trajectory, it is one of the more difficult omissions to understand. The ceiling on this player is genuinely unknown. The World Cup would have been the stage to begin to find out. Alejandro Balde's peak came in the 2022-2023 season. Barcelona's La Liga title-winning campaign, where he played 33 games and posted an on-off differential of plus 1.2. He was one of the most dynamic young left-backs in Europe, quick, direct, comfortable in possession, capable of contributing in the final third. His form in 2025-2026 has been more mixed. The numbers this season are below what he produced at his best. But Spain's decision to leave him out reflects the depth of a generation, not a verdict on his quality. At 21, with a Barcelona title on his CV, Bald belongs at a World Cup. He is watching this one at home. João Palhinha. There is a specific type of midfielder that modern football increasingly undervalues in the transfer market but desperately needs on the pitch. The pure defensive midfielder. The player who wins the ball, protects the back four, and allows the creative players around him to take risks, knowing someone is covering behind them. João Palhinha is that player at the highest level. At Fulham, over 2 seasons, his on-off differential was plus +0.86. The team defended measurably better with him. At Tottenham, in the Premier League's most defensively demanding environment, he has maintained that profile. His tackling numbers are among the highest of any midfielder in the division. His positioning is elite. His reading of the game makes him one of the few players who can genuinely protect a defense without the ball. Portugal's decision to leave him out is tactically difficult to defend. A squad that has historically struggled to balance creativity and defensive solidity in midfield chose to go to the World Cup without its best specialist in that role. Palhinha will be watching. Eduardo Camavinga might be the most versatile midfielder in elite European football. He can play as a 6, an 8, or a left back. He has won the Champions League. He has been a key part of Real Madrid's midfield across multiple title-winning campaigns. In 2023-2024, his on-off differential at Real Madrid was plus +1.63, meaning the European champions were significantly better with him on the pitch. France have an extraordinary depth of midfield talent. That is the only explanation for Camavinga not making the squad. When the reason you are left out is that your country has too many world-class midfielders, it says something remarkable about French football. It does not make it any less surprising. Cole Palmer's 2024-2025 season at Chelsea was one of the most statistically dominant individual performances from any attacking player in recent Premier League history.
The answer to both questions is emphatically yes.
His on-off differential was plus +1.01. Meaning Chelsea scored an additional goal per 90 minutes with him on the pitch. This season, he has added 11 goals and 5 assists in the league, continuing to be one of the most dangerous attacking players in England.
Still going, Palmer!
The England manager has an extraordinary pool of attacking talent to choose from. But a player with an on-off differential of +1 in the previous season not making a World Cup squad is genuinely remarkable. Cole Palmer is one of the best players in England. He is not at the World Cup. Phil Foden's career on-off differential across 9 seasons in the Premier League is +1.54. Let that number sit for a moment. Over nearly a decade of top-flight football, Manchester City have scored 1.5 additional goals per 90 minutes with Phil Foden on the pitch compared to when he is off it. In his best seasons, the treble year, the following season, those numbers reached +1.82 and +1.48 respectively. This is not a player in poor form. This is not a player who has been inconsistent. This is one of the most impactful footballers in Premier League history by this metric, omitted from his country's World Cup squad. Whatever the England manager's reasons, the data makes this one of the most difficult omissions to explain. Phil Foden is at home. The World Cup is less for it. Kingsley Coman has been a fixture in major finals for most of his career. He scored the winning goal in the 2020 Champions League final. He has won 10 Bundesliga titles. He has been one of the most dangerous wide players in European football for a decade. Electric in 1-versus-1 situations, with a crossing rate in his peak years at Bayern Munich that placed him among the elite in that category. His move to Al Nassr in 2025-2026 complicates the argument. Deschamps can point to the change of league as justification. But this season, Coman has scored 10 goals and added 11 assists in 30 matches. His output has not diminished. His profile, a wide player with the pace, technique, and big game experience that France will need, remains as valuable as ever. He is 30 years old. This was likely his last World Cup. João Pedro has been one of the most consistent strikers in the Premier League for the past 3 seasons.
João Pedro! João Pedro!
At Brighton and now at Chelsea, the pattern is the same. Goals, impact, an on-off differential that reflects genuine collective value. Not just personal numbers, but a player who makes the team better. This season at Chelsea, he has scored 18 goals in 35 league appearances. His on-off differential is +1.12, matching the number he posted at Brighton in 2023-2024, His expected goals per 90 minutes this season is 0.95, and he is outperforming that figure. Brazil, a country with extraordinary depth in attacking positions, decided he was not one of their 23 best players. 18 Premier League goals says otherwise, and that is before we get to the bench. Lucas Chevalier as backup goalkeeper. Dean Huijsen, one of the most promising young center-backs in Europe, as defensive cover. Luke Shaw providing experienced left-back depth. Christopher Nkunku, whose talent has never been in question, offering creativity from midfield or off the striker. Rooney Barghi, still only a teenager, bringing the unpredictability of Barcelona's academy. Diego Luna representing the next generation of American football. And Lois Openda and Randall Kolo Muani, two forwards with the pace and movement to change any game from the bench. Every manager who named their World Cup squad made a choice, and every choice meant leaving someone out. The players in this squad are not failures. They are not players who ran out of quality or commitment or ambition. They are, in many cases, among the best players in the world at their positions. Foden and Palmer did not go to the World Cup. Palhinha and Camavinga did not go to the World Cup. Ter Stegen and Trent Alexander-Arnold did not go to the World Cup. The team they formed together might be better than several of the teams that did. That is the World Cup, the best tournament in the world, made even more remarkable by the talent it leaves behind.